We survived 2020, but what will 2021 bring? Is it asteroids and zombies, or puppies? Welcome back to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Well, everyone, we made it. It's 2021. Congratulations. Start off the year right by liking this episode. It helps us with YouTube's algorithm. Also, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn the notifications on. Seriously, thank you for your support. So, 2021, a new year, a fresh start, a clean slate. I feel better already. And there's no way that 2021 will be as bad as 2020. Unless it's filled with asteroids, zombies, and a bad outlook. Although, if the world is already filled with asteroids and zombies, a bad outlook just feels redundant. Anyway, that New York Post story is just one of many news articles that have popped up in the last week or so about Nostradamus' 2021 predictions. And I get it. Nostradamus, the 16th century French predictor person, is a pretty popular guy. The History Channel talks about him all the time, when they're not talking about ancient aliens. In fact, I can't wait for the upcoming History Channel documentary, Nostradamus, Ancient Alien. Look, I promise that I'm not turning into the History Channel. I actually have a larger point here. Because as I started to see more articles talking about Nostradamus' most terrifying predictions for this year, of zombies and asteroids, earthquakes, and the plague, I started to notice something odd. So odd that I'm bringing back our popular segment, Wait, is that true? 2021 edition. What I noticed was that all of the Nostradamus articles were using the same two websites as a source. That is, when they weren't just copying off of each other. Like how the Jerusalem Post copied Dublin Live, and Dublin Live copied the Mirror. Other, more authoritative news outlets like Newsweek went straight to the source. That's right, website yearlyhoroscope.org, which says that 70% of Nostradamus' predictions have come true. That seems legit. Speaking of legit, here's the Yearly Horoscope website. Some news articles also use the Wise Horoscope website as a source. It's not that we here at America Uncovered don't trust Newsweek or yearlyhoroscope.org, but we decided to double-check their claims by actually reading Nostradamus' original words, or at least by reading the most commonly used translation of the most reliable surviving publication of Nostradamus' prophecies from 1568. We didn't plan on doing this research. We just wanted to make a fun episode about Nostradamus. But after years of doing these shows, we just can't stop ourselves from doing research. And we discovered something absolutely hilarious, which I'll tell you about after the break. Welcome back. So we read Nostradamus' original text, and then compared it to the 2021 predictions we've been seeing this past week. Now, to their credit, the predictions listed on the Yearly Horoscope website are based on actual Nostradamus prophecies. Unlike that time last April when someone made up a fake Nostradamus prophecy to falsely claim that he predicted the coronavirus. But although the prophecies listed for 2021 were technically from Nostradamus, there's one key problem. Nostradamus almost never gave specific dates for specific prophecies. So as far as we can tell, Yearly Horoscope and Wise Horoscope just took a bunch of random Nostradamus prophecies, interpreted them in weird ways, and claimed they were for 2021. They're essentially fake 2021 predictions. And a bunch of media, including Newsweek, wrote articles about it without bothering to check anything. I guess the editors looked at the stories and were like, It looks right. We don't need to fact check. The most explosive claim is that a Russian scientist will create a biological weapon that will bring about the zombie apocalypse. Why is it always zombies? Why is it never a puppy apocalypse? At least then the end of the world would be cute and furry. Anyway, a Russian scientist creating a zombie apocalypse. That's Yearly Horoscope's interpretation of a Nostradamus prophecy. Odd, because in the 16th century, there was no concept of zombies or scientists. Here's the Nostradamus text Yearly Horoscope used. No idea how they got a Russian scientist and zombies from that. Anyway, it's one of the few Nostradamus prophecies that actually has a date in the original text. And that date is the year of our Lord, 1564. Those verses are from two different places in his almanac for 1564, which is supposed to predict what would happen in 1564, not 2021. I could go on, but I think you get the point. Nostradamus did not say the zombie apocalypse is going to happen in 2021, which is a shame because I was getting excited about 2021 disaster bingo. So this story is not true. But I'm not bringing this up to talk about Nostradamus' fake predictions, because this isn't Prophecies Unrevealed. I'm bringing this up to talk about how a lot of media outlets just rewrote and published fake clickbait without bothering to check anything. Because why check it when they know it will get views? Plus, their staff each have to churn out 10 articles a day, so there's no time to check it. And hey, all the other media are doing it too, and that makes it okay. Now this might be pretty harmless when it comes to articles about Nostradamus and the zombie apocalypse, but it's really bad when this behavior carries over to the real news, and it does, all the time. I'll show you how after this commercial break. Welcome back. The one prediction that will certainly come true in 2021 is that the media will continue to copy each other's stories without bothering to check if they're actually true. That's one reason why the public is inundated with so much misinformation. And it's why so many people have stopped trusting so-called authoritative media. Remember this blockbuster Politico story from last year about how Trump owes millions of dollars to a Chinese state-owned bank? It was repeated by lots of other media, all citing the Politico article. And then it turned out to be not true, because the Bank of China sold off the loan back in 2012, long before Trump ran for office. So then Politico quietly changed their headline without issuing a correction. And then, after more backlash, they issued an editor's note and a correction, several days later. Of course, most people don't know that, and still think Trump owes millions to a Chinese bank. This kind of thing has happened repeatedly in the last few years, especially when it involves Trump. It was especially bad during the Russian collusion investigation, like when ABC News claimed that Michael Flynn would testify that Trump told him to contact the Russians about ISIS during the campaign. Turns out that was not true. Flynn said that Trump told him to contact Russia during the transition, not the campaign, which completely changes the story. ABC News had to issue a correction, as did other media that had jumped on the story after ABC reported it. ABC ended up firing that reporter. There was also the time BuzzFeed claimed that the Mueller investigation had found that Trump told Michael Cohen to lie to Congress. Other media jumped on the story, citing BuzzFeed. Mueller's office actually denied the BuzzFeed report at the time, but BuzzFeed did not issue a correction until 3 months later, when the Mueller report was publicly released. And there was the embarrassing time that CNN, MSNBC, and CBS all messed up the same story. They all said that they had sources who confirmed there was an email proving that WikiLeaks had given Donald Trump and Trump Jr. hacked DNC emails that hadn't been publicly released on WikiLeaks. This would prove that Trump was colluding with Russia via WikiLeaks. I would show you the original video, but CNN has scrubbed it from the internet, because it turns out that those emails were sent after WikiLeaks made the hacked documents public. And the email wasn't even sent by anyone at WikiLeaks. It was just some guy who saw that WikiLeaks had publicly released these documents and thought the Trumps would be interested. There's lots more of these examples of the media getting things really wrong, like the whole Covington Catholic story. But you get the point. These are stories that are so bad, these media outlets had to walk them back. So at least some people will hear that these stories were actually wrong. There are also stories that are basically wrong or extremely misleading, but not so technically inaccurate that the media have to issue corrections. And then, no one realizes they were misled. Like this story from 2019, claiming that Trump said he might veto the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act. You'll notice in the first sentence that the Washington Post changed Trump says he might veto from the headline to suggested he might veto. But then when you read the rest of the story, there's no actual quote where Trump suggests he would veto the legislation. At most, he talks about how he stands with Hong Kong and freedom, but he also wants a trade deal with his good buddy Xi Jinping. The Washington Post based their story on a Fox and Friends interview with Trump. And so, we went back and listened to the original interview. And in the interview, Trump does not suggest he would veto the bill. But the misleading Washington Post story was reprinted in several different media, all with a similar headline, like the Boston Globe and the Australian Financial Review. Reuters also published a story that made it seem like Trump might veto the bill because he was vague about it. Our China Uncensored social media was getting panicked messages from Hong Kongers asking us if it was true that Trump was going to veto the bill. A few days later, he signed it into law. No veto. And his administration has since used it to aggressively sanction a bunch of Hong Kong officials. That's despite Trump getting his trade deal. I know these examples have been Trump-centric, but this problem is not limited to how the media covers Trump. Believe me, I've seen it for years with how the media covers China, too. It's just that a lot of the worst examples of this involve Trump, because he drives the media absolutely crazy. And he knows it. Okay, here's an example that's not about Trump, the Hunter Biden story. In October, NPR said it wasn't worth covering. Politico said it was Russian disinformation. And most of the mainstream media agreed, until after the election, when it came out that Hunter Biden was under federal investigation for his business deals involving China. And he had been since 2018. So sad to see CNN peddling Russian disinformation. Actually, since this did involve the presidential election, I guess it is related to Trump after all. But the Covington Catholic thing wasn't. Oh, wait, they were wearing MAGA hats. Oh my gosh, what if every story is actually related to Trump? It's like the media version of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Let's see. How is the Nostradamus story related to Trump? Well, in the fake Nostradamus 2021 prediction, the guy who creates the virus that turns people into zombies is a Russian scientist. Since he's Russian, he's probably colluding with Trump, which means that Trump is responsible for the zombie apocalypse. I can see the headlines now, and the headlines that repeat the other headlines. I can't wait to watch the History Channel documentary, Nostradamus, the ancient alien who predicted Trump will end the world. And remember to like, subscribe, and share this episode. And let me know what History Channel documentary you'd like to see in the comments below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching this very special episode of America Uncovered.